Director of Marketing Services over at Blue Tent. She does come to us with tons of experience, as well as Robin Scott. And Robin is the vacation rental consultant and sales expert. So we have an amazing panel today of information experts here. And we're just going to go ahead and just dive right in. And Kara and Robin are just going to kind of take the reins, and they're going to walk us through some amazing information today. And Andrea and Megan are here to help answer questions about anything that might be software specific. All right, ladies, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much. We're really excited. We can't see everybody that's on here, but you get to look at our faces. And it's always great to talk about our friends over at VRM. Kara and I both work really closely with VRM, and really, we're here to discuss your website and how you can make changes within your software product to optimize your site and make it higher converting, working better for you in the long run. So go ahead, Kara, you can kind of keep advancing there on me. So really, we're all here to talk about the site. Optimally in this slide here, we've got your desktop, your laptop, your tablet and mobile. All of those things are important to consider when you are making changes in your software. Sorry, you'll probably hear my dog back here. But when you are making changes in your software, you want to always check your site and in all your platforms. So we really want to utilize your software to make sure you're separating yourselves from what OTAs cannot do, which there's a good list there. You want to be able to stand out from your competitors, like offering unique amenities, things like that. And so then, therefore, you can really be a leader in your market with kind of cool tools that are driven from your software that we can apply to your website.
Cool.
Next slide.
Thanks, Robin. I
enhance.
Getting that. Oh, sorry. I think because I was getting the poll. There we go. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. I moved my polls over here. But
okay.
We actually are doing polls. This is kind of the first time I'm seeing polls. So if I look over here, I'm looking at a bunch of you are from the coast. We've got a few mountain people. I'm in Colorado. We've got international. Welcome. And so then we've got some city folk on here as well. So thanks everyone for being here. So one of the big pieces that I think are sort of overlooked in a lot of cases is in your, go back.
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of a, like a 30,000 foot flyover of what we're going to cover here. But to take a step back, as we kind of set the stage a little bit, the past couple of years, most of us have enjoyed, sellouts, lack of inventory, high prices, everything is booked up, and it's been great, right? 2023 has presented us with challenges that we really haven't had to face in the past couple of years. For most rental markets, demand is kind of normalized. Travel revenge, is tapered off. Our guests have more options than they've ever had. So we're experiencing increased inventory, price-sensitive guests, which again, we haven't really had to face in the past couple of years, and potential for economic uncertainty, which all of this is kind of a recipe for, super fun conversations with your homeowners, right? So how do we overcome that? How do we combat that? So we really have to get creative with our branding, fine-tuning our strategies, things that we may have overlooked in the past because we really haven't had to focus on them, and being smarter and more thoughtful about our marketing efforts. So if we take a look at your website is the best place to start for all of that. So here's just kind of an overview. We're going to look at property titles, property descriptions, images, amenities, landing pages, your availability calendars, creative ways to showcase those, and then go into a whole series of email integration and opportunities that you have there with your VRM platform.
Right. And so all of these features are really translated from the platform and kind of carry over into what you're capable of doing in the website, what do you want to do in the website, and how you can kind of improve your marketing by, of course, leveraging that PRM or PMS, excuse me. So property titles, again, is something that we haven't really always had to pay attention to with market saturation or whatnot. A couple things that are kind of overlooked is one, making it easy for the guest to find. So sometimes in the old days, we would have the property name, and that would just be the name that your reservations team would look for. Well, now we can actually optimize that name in your PMS by having a standard name that your res team is looking for, and then you can have a public facing name. And so that's optimized not only to make it easier to find, but you can have keywords in there, like such as beach house, etc. Making it easy for the guests to remember. You don't want a number 3, 4, 6, 5, 7. So you can kind of recreate those names and make it creative. So really paying attention to what makes it easy for your reservationist team to find that home while they're on the phone making a reservation, and then what the public name is. So what's displayed on your website, and that's the name that Google will pull as well. So you want to make sure you're using something creative, easy to remember, and something that Google will pull. You can go ahead, Kara. The other thing within your PMS is paying attention to your property descriptions. So avoiding things like in the past, we would see a ton of bullet points that didn't really utilize keywords. It didn't really leverage creativity. We all know that not every guest is going to read every single word on these descriptions, but we know Google is. So we want to create it. We want to kind of format things so that it's easy to read. It points out the main things about the property, bedding configuration, for example. But we also can throw in keywords like beachfront, ocean view, upgraded kitchen, things like that we know that the guest wants to see, and that when Google crawls, it can essentially kind of optimize that property for keywords that are in that description. The more detail, the better, and we will kind of get into that amenities piece as well.
And again, just like make sure those are you're reviewing those. Does the first sentence of your property description say newly renovated, but maybe that was written 5 years ago, so maybe that's not accurate anymore? Has a new amenity or new feature to the home been added? So just taking some time to audit those from time to time, just to see if you can enhance them or find opportunities, or at least make sure that they're still accurate.
Yeah, we've broken that up in the past for PMs where it's really a quarterly task where you take a chunk, maybe 25 or 100 units, and someone, you just direct that to someone on your team to read through them. And it's really better to read through them in the PMS so that you can make changes on the fly, so that people aren't wasting their time in the site. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make those edits right there, add new features, make sure there's no spelling errors, etc.
Okay. And then next, moving on to images, one of my favorite topics. I can't believe sometimes that we still have to talk about this, but when you're thinking about your property images, make sure that they're high res, they're professional. Professional photos are a need to have now, not a nice to have. Definitely want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward there with your photos. They're really selling the experience. So if you have poor photography or anything less than professional photography, frankly, you're missing an opportunity to really showcase your properties. Because after all, the image is the first thing that's going to sell the experience. So you want to make sure that is professional and they are they're well cropped and they look good on your property details pages. The other thing about images is the order of the images. You really want to make sure that they go in like kind of a specific order in terms of if you were to be touring the property yourself. So obviously you do the exteriors first, and then you move into the main living areas, kitchens, et cetera, then move on to the bedrooms and then, the bathrooms, et cetera, and go through that way. It seems fairly obvious, but again, worth revisiting to make sure that all of your photography is super crisp and clear and professionally done. Either, have a local person do it or do something for trade. There are affordable ways to get that professional photography, but it's just uber important. A couple little nuggets to think about with your photos too. If you look at your vacation rental search results page, you've got all those teasers on there. Take a look at that. If you're finding that a particular property, isn't booking as fast as, some of the other similar ones in that destination or that grouping, maybe swap out that teaser image, maybe make it, an interior photo or a different view of the exterior, and maybe that will move the needle a little bit with that property. Another thing to think about too, as you go through, if you have a lot, most TVs these days are flat screens. They're on the wall. You've got this big, beautiful professional photo of your living room, and you've got the TV on the wall there. A good opportunity there is I've seen a lot of clients throw their logo up on that TV. You can Photoshop that in. I was going through a website with a client a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at one of his photos, and the TV had the giant Netflix logo on there. And I asked him politely if he was getting a kickback from the folks at Netflix for the free advertising. He wasn't, so I suggested maybe swap that out with his logo or something like that, just to have that extra little piece of branding. Remember, where everything that you can do to try to set yourself apart from the competition and remain front and center in the minds of your guests or your potential guests. One last thing to think about with images is the way that you're naming them as you're entering them into your property management system. They're obviously just going to have a random number or whatever it might be, but make sure you're naming it to exactly what it is, or even the location or the house name, something specific to that, so that Google finds those when they're in search engines and when they're crawling. The other thing to think about is that alt text, what the title of the photo is. That is also important for search engines, but in other cases too, I believe that is for usability. If the image doesn't display, or if there's screen readers, that will tell the screen reader and Google what that image is about, and you can describe those that way as well for SEO. But again, lots of opportunities there, and just ways to tweak something that you may already be doing well with images.
Yeah, two other little things operationally, because I know it's really challenging to go back and name all your images, but if you can put a process going forward to make sure that happens before you load unit images, eventually as you get more units or owner churn happens, or if you happen to have time to go back and retroactively name those images, it's huge. It's not something that has to be done today, but if you put the process in place now, then you're on the right track. And then the other thing is, when you do engage with the photographer, add an extra hour to that package, get some drone footage, get some scenic photography. That person's carrying around a high quality camera, and it's a great way to get new property or new images for your website that aren't just for that property. Beachfront, family photos, but drone footage is a great way to just kind of add an hour onto that package and get a lot of additional content that you can leverage throughout the other parts of your site.
Hey, Kara and Robin, for those on the call today that maybe aren't super tech savvy, would you guys go in just a quick detail about what SEO is and why that is important to them? Why should that be important to our listeners?
Yeah, so that could be a whole nother webinar. So SEO is for search engine optimization. It's basically the way that Google or search engines look at your website, and they're crawling your website to rank you organically. When someone types in 30A beachfront vacation rentals, you want your website to be up there. So we utilize technical tactics. We utilize content tactics to help Google see that website as an authority for that particular keyword, and a multitude of obviously other converting keywords. So there's a science to it that we're not going to go into today, but that's kind of the long and short. Kara, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you give a pretty brief overview, but yeah, exactly. It's making sure that you're doing everything on your website from a content and technical standpoint, so that when someone types in your keywords, your website shows up and not your competitors.
Well, and also too, ladies, and have their website pull up over the OTAs, Airbnb, VRMBO, to save on those fees that they're paying over on those other sites. Yeah, super important there too. Just thought I'd jump in.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay. And now I'm having that problem again. Okay. So the next thing we wanted to touch on was amenities. Making sure that.
Is this one me here?
What's that?
Is this one me or you?
I was going to tackle it, but you can if you want.
You go ahead.
I'll start. Okay, great. It's another one of my favorite topics. Going through your amenities. This can kind of be a headache if you don't do it right, or if you are disorganized. For instance, if I'm entering a new property into the system and I call it private pool, but then the next time we have a new property, Robin enters it and she can't find private pool because I didn't put it in the right spot or I spelled it wrong or whatever. And she creates an amenity called pool private. And now we're wondering, why all of our private pool properties aren't showing up on our website. So having that standardization from your internal team as they're entering new homes and or adding amenities for existing properties is extremely important, not only for your own sanity as you're, navigating your VRM, but also for getting these amenities to display all of your properties on the website. There's a definite science to it. So the organization and cleaning that up is kind of key. We recommend doing an amenity audit again on a quarterly basis during your off season when your reservationists maybe don't have as much to do. The audit can be for those things like duplicates and misspellings, but also for opportunities. Have you had new amenities creep up with new properties that you're bringing along? Have new amenities become popular that weren't popular, when you first set up your software? One prime example of that is EV chargers. I've had a couple of clients over the past couple of years have homeowners that are now offering that, and people are searching for it. So again, going back to that search engine optimization, providing that amenity displayed on your property details pages, creating content around that can only benefit you. So again, going back to looking for those little ways where you can, set yourself apart from the competition and be creative with the way that you're displaying your information and selling your properties is always going to be helpful. Another thing with amenities, our websites do a really good job of displaying featured amenities. Something that we've seen more and more of is showcasing these featured amenities on our property details pages with icons. So at a glance, the user can easily see the features of the home, the main features of the home, your selling points, and that it's easily digestible, consumable way that they can easily see what amenities are offered, and organizing those as such. Then for your regular amenities, having those in some sort of an order or category. Your outdoor amenities, your kitchen amenities, so it's not just like a word vomit of all of everything that the property offers. The guest is not going to easily find, if it has Wi-Fi or and anything else that they might be looking for. So sometimes, the amenities are overlooked, but they really do help sell the experience and sell the property. So we want to make sure that they're number one, displaying accurately and correctly, and that we've maximized our opportunities there.
Yeah, I think that's great. Duplicates are one where it is huge. I find a ton of duplicates. So cleaning those ones out and making sure you're just committed to private pool instead of pool private. Communal pool, let's try to rephrase that to either community or shared pool, communal pool. And then little things like you don't need to have bathroom as an amenity, or things like that. There are certain things in your photography or whatever that are very obvious about the home. So try to keep it as clean as you can based on that property.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. And then landing page creation. I think you guys call them web groups in some capacity there. But now that our amenities are nice and organized and they're all spelled correctly and they're pulling through to the website properly, how do we really showcase those? One way to do that is with landing pages. I call these your money makers. So you want to take your most sought after amenities and create specific landing pages for those. Think words that keywords or phrases that your potential guests are going to search. Oceanfront vacation rentals, pet-friendly properties, condos with or houses with private pool, things like that. You can take those amenities and create a landing page specific for those, so it will only pull in those properties. This is really, really good search engine juice for the reasons I just said, where your users are going to be searching those keywords, and then these specific pages, not just your homepage, will show up because you've got an introductory paragraph explaining what's so great about having an oceanfront property, and then you've got all the properties listed there that they can easily search and find their dates for. There's some really, really great opportunities with these types of landing pages. Another thing that I'd like to suggest for some of my clients recently is, sometimes guests don't know what they don't know. Maybe they don't know that you offer pet-friendly properties, or maybe they don't know that you have, a handful of properties where the golf cart is included. Like, heck yeah, I want that. So having one page where a guest can search by amenity, and then they can at a glance see what you offer. So you'd have your oceanfront, your golf cart, maybe if you're in a large beach house destination, properties with elevator. I can check in on Sunday in these houses, featuring those types of amenities and things, and getting really creative with what you offer, and then showcasing that to the guests so that they can find it, and they may not even know that they were looking for it. So again, providing that opportunity to provide more choice and to keep them on your site and engage longer and help them find what they're looking for there.
Yeah, these are also clutch for paid. If you're in the paid marketing space, Google AdWords, we do not want to send traffic to your homepage ever. So for those Google AdWords groups, we want to really build out these taxonomy pages, because your quality score in your AdWords account will go way up if you're actually directing traffic to the appropriate page based on that keyword.
Yeah, and again, this is another opportunity for improvement, to make those small little tweaks. Is there a landing page maybe that we haven't thought of in the past couple of years that we can now add? Have you expanded into a new location? Yeah, let's create a taxonomy page for properties that are specific to that location. Just little ways that you can improve the quality of your website and the experience for the guest as they come back and look for where they want to stay.
Do you guys find that most of those taxonomy or web groups are listed in the drop-down menu in the main menu, or are they added to, say, a search by amenity page, where then on one page the user can search by all the different amenities or, say, locations?
It varies by client and by specific destination. For some clients, because you want to have a nice balance of having too many options in your drop-down navigation and then not enough. So I like to guide clients to have maybe their top one or two or three, and then have either a tertiary flyout menu, or just a catch-all, like search by location, search by amenity type thing. So it really depends on the market and how granular you want to get, but you don't want to have too many options, because then it's going to be just option overload.
Hey, Kara, there's and Robin, there's two questions really quick in this general area of the presentation. One is naming the pictures possible if we use Escapia to appear on our website, since all information is pulled via Escapia.
Yeah, so the answer to that is there's two different ways to do that, Brittany. One is, the ideal way is to really rename the image before you upload it to Escapia, right? So it would be beachfront 30A Kara's house kitchen, beachfront 30A Kara's house master. So it's really, when you get those from the photographer, you really download them to your desktop and name them there before they get uploaded to Escapia. Escapia does have a title field for images, but I'm not a personal fan of naming images so it shows up as a little banner across it on the website. That's just me. I more rely on, I think the guest knows that it's a kitchen when they look at it, and you can use that alt text for vision impaired. With the alt text is where, like, vision impaired, it would be a reader, so they would actually be able to hear what that description is. The naming field in Escapia does not really do anything for SEO or for reader type actions. And then the second question, is there a way to sync website property reviews with the property listings on VRBO? That's kind of a trickier one. It really depends on the PMS, but yes, there are ways. So your VRBO reviews come back into your PMS, and ideally they flow back to your website, but it really is, it's dependent on the PMS you're using and the way that we would display those. But no, you cannot, I guess, syncing the other way, you cannot take website reviews on your site and push them to VRBO. They will not accept those reviews. It's a one-way API. All right, next question. or next slide. Oh, availability calendar. So back in the day, we used to kind of have these tape charts, right? And so this is just kind of a cool way. This has sort of come back into popularity, but it's for on the user facing side. So it just really gives the user a quick way to see what's available. Like maybe I want to come in on a Friday. Oh, well, there's a lot of Fridays booked here. So you can actually click on the units to go into detail, but this kind of gives a really good picture. And then you can filter down using the sort by availability or alphabetically rather, the month, and then particular type of bedrooms and locations, which are probably the most popular sort filters in this particular display. And then we've got promote your marketing channels. That kind of this is a great place to drive traffic for generalized keywords or availability. But we really do want to continue to promote your social media channels throughout your site.
Yeah, no, this is a great way to, if you have, especially if you have repeat guests that know they want to stay in a specific property and have flexible dates, they can find a time slot that is open and available for that specific property. Again, just another way that you can set yourself apart from your competition and give travelers an easy way to find what they're looking for.
Yeah, and from OTAs, because they can't display multiple properties with this kind of availability in any one destination like you guys can.
Yep.
So that makes a big difference.
Cool. I think we've wrapped up. Oh, there. Oh. So yeah, this is another one of my favorite topics. Add-ons at checkout, upsells at checkout. VRM does a really good job of giving you guys a tool to be able to utilize this feature on our checkout page. You would set these up in VRM, any specific add-on that you have, and then you can display it. It automatically displays and available available to purchase at checkout. So add-ons, let's get creative with these. What can we offer the guest? Whatever we can monetize, let's add in here and see if we can upsell the guest. It also, gives the guest a chance. Again, it's what do they don't know? Can I get early check-in or late checkout for a fee? Like, heck yeah, I'm going to do that. Do you offer, pool heat? I am not swimming in a pool that's not heated. Sign me up for that. So let's get creative with how you can display these and offer them to your guests and give them that one-stop shopping experience. Also for essentials like linens, bed making service, crib rentals, like you can add all of that in there for the guest to select as they check out. It's great to enhance the guest experience. Again, it sets you apart from the OTAs. Maybe your competition isn't offering this. It's a great tool to utilize specifically with VRM because it is so easy to integrate into your website. Another just thing about this is let's promote it on your website as a basic page, like what the guest can offer. Again, making sure that they're aware that once they get to the checkout page, they'll be able to add these things on and enhance their vacation that way. Super easy, kind of a no-brainer, and an easy way to add some income to your reservations.
I just wanted to jump in here really quick, Kara, and also mention, I think one of the reasons VRM does this so well is also because the accounting side of the system is able to really separate those charges properly. And the accounting side is even, I think, even a better aspect to the VRM system that's able to push all of that over to the website. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I think some systems may not be able to do that very well from the accounting side, but VRM can.
Cool. They don't let me touch anything accounting wise. So glad you stepped in there.
You don't let me touch that either. So Michelle's probably watching this like, Andrea, be careful what you say. I do know that it does it very well though.
Awesome. Right. It looks like we have a question before we get into automations. David asked, is there a way to delete a property and then add it as new again? I'd probably want to understand why. You should be able to make kind of all your changes in the live PMS environment, meaning availability rates, images, etc. So I'm pretty sure you can, but it's really not best practice to ever delete a property because you're losing all of that financial data, all of the owner data, anything that was tied to that unit would be wiped. So it could really kind of come back to bite you. If you wanted to deactivate that unit and then add it back as a new unit for whatever reason, if that's easier, then that's fine. But when you get to the bottom line with accounting, you're going to have to remember, oh yeah, David's house deactivated had 6 reservations in August 2022 that I'm not accounting for. So, and then Facebook Pixel, do you recommend we activate a Facebook Meta Pixel on your website? Yes. For sure. You want to be able, I mean, we want you utilizing Google Analytics Universal, or obviously GA4 is the next iteration. And so that Facebook Pixel will essentially allow you to really see true user user tracking in those analytics.
And I just wanted to jump in before you guys move on to the next section. In the poll that we just did about upsells and add-ons, we had about a 3-way tie. And so I just thought that was really interesting. Maybe a great upcoming webinar could be about upsells and add-ons. Because we're going to talk about other ways to kind of market that next, because it isn't, OTAs really have a hard time with this. It really messes up reservations. If they are saying they can add upsells, it can really mess up your books and the way that reservation flows from them into your PMS. So if you're really able to do this, and let's say you get a VRBO booking, we're going to kind of talk about automations next and how you can kind of move into that email marketing automated trigger space to kind of leverage more, not just more revenue, more bookings, but kind of ancillary revenue like add-ons. And I'm assuming then that kind of ties into like guest education, just really educating, I guess, what is available to them.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it, but like Kara said, you want a static page that explains all the things that are opportunistic to the guest to add to that reservation. It's great for search engine optimization, but it's a nice informative page. Obviously, when they get to the checkout, hopefully they've already thought, oh, I definitely obviously need linens. We really do need a booster pack or a rollaway for this particular home because we booked the 4-bedroom instead of the 5-bedroom, like maybe we wanted. So there's a bunch of stuff you can add here.
And having the ability to do that sets you apart from your competitors. So when someone's looking for something and they're looking at one booking versus another, and they say, oh, well, this person has all these amenities I can add, and then also it's going to boost your revenue. So having the capability for your PMS system to allow you to add those amenities from your website is huge.
Yeah. Right. And you can use it. You can make community partners. So you could sell restaurant gift cards. You could be philanthropic and say, give back to clean the beaches, $5 on your reservation. So there's a bunch of different layers that set you apart in this. And it's really quite flexible and unique. And with the VRM system, again, it's easy for us to populate this on the checkout page and boom. So we'll talk about this upsells more in just a second.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit to email marketing integration and opportunities.
Right. So I think a lot of people forget, there are strong email marketing systems out there, ESPs for lack of a better word, but PMSs now, strong PMSs similar like VRM, have a very capable trigger and integration system with your website. And so we're going to kind of talk about some of the tools and tips that you can use, including upsells, kind of going into this next section.
Yeah. So just, from an overarching perspective, like, have you revisited or taken a look at your overall email marketing strategy lately, and what does it look like? From our seats, we have several components in mind on our end about what a well-crafted email marketing strategy is, and it doesn't just consist of a monthly e-newsletter or email campaign that you send out. There are several other components. Certainly that's a piece of it, but we want to try to get you guys to think about, different ways that you can use email marketing, your data from VRM, and all the tools on your website to kind of have this big cohesive strategy. So again, certainly, we recommend suggesting a traditional email campaign once a month, so that your email database, is used to hearing from you. They look forward to hearing from you. They're comfortable with getting your messages. Then taking a slice out of that, sending some segmented emails throughout the month. Those can either be to a specific, group of people that have expressed interest in pet-friendly properties or stayed in a pet-friendly property before, or a certain other type of property like oceanfront. But you can also use them for short-term availability that you may have coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Let's take a look at our inventory and our data and say, oh, we really need to get more bookings in our 2-bedroom condos. We've got way too many of those. Let's send out an email to everyone that stayed in a 2-bedroom condo in the past 2 years or 3 years for this date range, and see what we get. So you can get super targeted, and then you can target the message in that email to something like, hey, we know you stayed with us before, and you loved, your 2-bedroom condo. Here are some more, and we know that you love coming in June. So let's get you booked. Another piece of your email marketing strategy is those automations that Robin was talking about. So your automated campaigns that work with your VRM reservation integration, and how can you utilize those throughout the guest life cycle. So moving on. So yeah, automation, other tools. So these are going to, entice travelers to come back to your site and book with you, engage with your brand. What are some examples of some automations and tools? One of our most popular ones is the booking abandonment email that goes out, within a specific time frame after a guest or potential guest at this point gets to the checkout page, but they don't complete the booking. We've all received these for, products or services that we've searched for out on the internet. You get to the cart and then you get distracted and are unable to complete the transaction, or you just kind of have cold feet and you step away. So then, some either 24 hours or less, you get an email that says, hey, are you still interested? This property is still available. Hurry, some sort of call to action there. And then you can complete the booking from that email. You can also send one out if the property happens to have been booked during that time frame. You can say, oh, that property is not available, but then offer other similar properties that would match that description and get that guest back in that booking funnel into the checkout page. Those are wildly successful emails. Little pro tip in here: if you don't have a modal pop-up on your website, I highly suggest doing that. You'll see the example there. It's just a call to action to join the email list to get updates on deals. You can utilize the pop-up for a number of reasons, but in this case, just collecting emails is a great way to keep your guests engaged and get new leads. Essentially, maybe they're not on your email list already, and you want them to join, and giving them a little incentive to do so there.
Yeah, and that little modal pop-up sends a welcome message, and again, these are all sort of set it and forget it. You do want to revisit your template maybe twice a year to make sure any tweaks you can do to increase revenue, but these are get bookings in your sleep type tools. They're very inexpensive, and we see a lot of revenue just from that welcome to our list email. And all it is thanks for joining our newsletter, and then someone winds up, going ahead and booking the reservation right away, which is pretty great.
Because the email looks so good and it's nice and enticing and well branded.
Mm-hmm. And the other part to kind of keep in mind, I think I get this question frequently, is when the property is not available, that email will retain the dates. So they actually get taken back to exactly the dates that they searched and what is still available, which I think it's a nice feature.
Yeah.
Karen,
Cool.
Robin, for those who answered the poll just now and said they are collecting emails, but they're not doing anything with them, what would be your first command of action plan for them?
Where do you start?
Well, really, step one, what Kara said, figure out what your email marketing strategy is. So really, those guests have asked to talk to you, or for you to talk to them, rather, start talking to them. Even if it is just the one newsletter a month, start doing that. And then if you have a website that's capable of doing some of these automations, get those in place. But just that marketing email with specials, featured properties, new properties, renovated properties, beachfront that's open the last weekend in August. Little sections like that, those are all conversion points for that entire list who truly has asked for you to communicate with them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take it kind of a step further, just from the PMS perspective. Obviously, emails are super important, but there's also a different crowd of people who aren't looking at their emails. So if you're looking at just what your PMS system can do on its own, VRM actually has a text messaging option upgrade. So in addition to sending emails, you can also send text messages. So you get a whole other crowd of people who maybe aren't looking at their emails, but are looking at their text messages, and send the same type of communication and almost get a better response from those text messages on your bookings. So if your current PMS system doesn't offer those two in conjunction with another, and that's something you're interested in, then VRM would definitely be a great thing to look at from that perspective.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to Blue Tent's enhanced sharing feature. What is that? Essentially, it's kind of, overlooked a little bit on our websites, but it's a great feature and a great tool. We offer sharing on, you can share your favorites, you can share a group of search results, and obviously you can share individual properties. And that is to say that you can collect different properties that you like. They're saved to your favorites, and then you can actually share that list of favorites or the search results or your property details page with the people that you're traveling with, your spouse, your friends that you're going on the group trip with, and they can easily see those properties and view what you're looking for, and then you can say, hey, what do you guys think? A couple different aspects here. It's obviously, again, a well-branded, nice looking email that is going to really engage and get people's attention, frankly. The other way that this is kind of a unique thing, the other way that I always say that vacation rental managers can use the favorites or the any type of the sharing there with the share results or the property deals page is your reservation agents. If your res agents are on the phone with a potential guest and they've walked them through 4 or 5 properties, and then the person's like, oh, I just speak to my group. Thanks, I'll be back. Call you later. You can say, hey, can I grab your email address? I can send you an email with all these properties that we just talked about. And then they can just go in there and pop them in the favorites and send that prospective guest the list of properties that they just discussed, so that the guest doesn't have to even think about it or go find those properties again. And it's well branded, and it's going to really make a good impression and make it easy for the person planning the trip to be able to then either forward that or share that again with their full group, and they just have that in front of them, and makes them think about you again.
Yeah, and the thing that really sets that apart, but your competition is likely just sending a link. So they may have the share property, which is a standard thing, but it actually just emails a link back to the site rather than a nice graphical email that outlines all the units that your grandmother chose, and now somebody on the family has to pick their favorite one. So it's a way to have a communication without relying on your reservations team or a bunch of people getting confused with search. The whole family can share one single email with 5 different properties, and then they can continue communicating with each other on that. So the way it works is pretty straightforward, but before I go into the integration piece, I'm just going to answer a couple questions on the Q&A. Katie, so you guys are utilizing MailChimp, which is an email service provider, an ESP. It is a vehicle to start using email marketing. Blue Tent utilizes a different platform. We can get people set up to run their own program. We have managed programs, but MailChimp is a vehicle to start doing your email marketing. You just need to get your lists uploaded in there and start doing it. We're happy to do a consultation with you on kind of what that process looks like, and whether or not you need someone to manage it for you, or whether you think you could possibly get those emails out the door every month. So going into website integration, let's just say I landed on the unit that I know I want my husband to book. I can just go right ahead and share this listing. And so I put in my name, my recipient's email, or my email address, and my message. And this way it creates a thread between your family. So it doesn't send everybody back to the website. It's like, I like one or I like two. And then you can put a message. And then this is a great way to get people to opt into your list as well. There's just a little checkbox down there. And we see that happen frequently. To Kara's point, we do see a ton of revenue from the enhanced sharing feature, along with that booking abandonment. These are things that happen. You don't even realize they're happening. And then you just go and say, oh, wow, I booked $17,000 this month off of a sharing thing that cost me hardly anything. So the return on investment on these automations we're finding is really, really quite fantastic. This is a pretty similar example. It takes you back to the house, so you can basically put in that specific property. It is all authenticated, so Blue Tent does all the proper best practices steps to make sure that it comes from an authenticated domain. But the reply, again, then the email thread goes back through the family member. So Blue Tent's taken out of it. You guys can have a full conversation there. Put in the custom amenities. It does include, and there's different ways we can display properties in these emails, but they're really quite fantastic. I think we have one other. I think the next slide might show.
Yeah.
One with multiple this doesn't have multiple properties, but this is great for groups. So on Blue Tent sites in particular, we have two different modules. One's called favorites and one's called trips. And we really did that because some people think a little bit differently. Like trips is really more geared towards the family travel. And I want to find all these properties that really work for our trip. And the favorites is really a personalized experience that you want to share with your group. So that's really why we created the enhanced sharing. The link, just the link in the email is just not a nice branded way. It doesn't get them emotionally attached to that unit with just a link in there. And it makes sure you're right in front of your brands there. Your websites, all your social media is on there. So it gives the guest the opportunity to really check out and trust your brand without needing to go back and shop around again on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. As Robin alluded to, this is my favorite section of our Looker Studio reports when I'm going over data with clients is the email marketing tab, and again seeing revenue associated with these sharing emails and with these booking abandonment emails. Like you kind of forget that they're out there as a possible revenue source for your guests to book. But it's kind of nice to see how those bookings trickle in from that. And again, it's very little effort on your part once you set it up, but it's a huge benefit to the guests or the potential guests as they're booking their stay. Not surprisingly, these have a really high open rate because they're coming from someone that you're familiar with and that and it just it makes a lot of sense to be able to easily plan and easily share the properties that you're interested in booking, and it's a great way to generate revenue. We have said that they're set it and forget it, but obviously best practice would be to go through those, test them, make sure that they're still working, make sure that everything is feeding over properly. There is some maintenance to them, just in terms of making sure that they are still functioning properly, and then again looking for opportunities or ways that you can improve them or enhance them. Whereas, the past couple of years, you probably, didn't run many specials and didn't need to. But now we're finding that there is a need for specials as users shop around. So on your cart abandonment emails, how about offering, a 5% discount or, some free add-on if the user books from those emails. Just another way to entice them to pull the trigger and finally book the property. It's a nice little incentive there. So just again, something to think about as you're auditing those templates and auditing the content of those emails.
Yeah, and I really think we could probably, Kara, do a whole webinar on different automations that you could leverage with VRM or a PMS. And we didn't get into some of the weeds like pre-arrival. Thank you for your reservation. Pre-arrival, during your stay, where you could also layer in that text messaging feature that Andrea was talking about. post-departure, guest anniversary, of different availabilities that pop up based on the segmentation that you have for different lists. Like, these are my luxury guests, these are my pet-friendly guests. So again, there's so many layers that you can do, but if you haven't started communicating to people that have asked for you to communicate, I think you're missing out on a pretty good revenue opportunity. And then another simple layer to set up to that would be these automations without taxing you from a management standpoint. These are a great way to drive additional revenue through triggers that we can set up via VRM data that can work really well for you. And I think we've got almost 5 minutes for question and answer. We had a couple things pop up, but I feel like we addressed everyone's questions. And we are going to send the webinar link, so you can check that box on the polls if you'd like to get that going. But otherwise, if anyone doesn't have any questions, we really love talking about VRM. Blue Tent's always here to support, as is our friends over at VRM. So if you have particular questions, feel free to reach out to Kara and myself. I think our contact information is on the webinar. So I appreciate everybody's time coming here today. We'll give you 5 minutes of your day back.
Yeah, I just really quickly, I have it's kind of maybe a question for everyone on the panel, but with, say, VRM, for example, there is a robust offering of different kinds of reports within the PMS system. Maybe just a 1-minute lowdown on how to leverage the reports available to you to be able to pull your own data to craft your email strategy.
So that's another big question. It really kind of, I would probably start looking at availability and gap dates first, right? So that's easy. That's low hanging fruit. So let's figure out what properties are open, and let's at least get those into a marketing strategy. And then the other low hanging fruit is post-departure incentives. So the guest has checked out. We want to communicate with them for a rebooking, or maybe even while they're still in the unit. Let's get an email out the door that says, hey, book now for the same week next summer or another week and get 5% off. So those are two pieces of low hanging fruit that are easy, but a lot depends on your marketing strategy. And that even trickles into owner acquisition. Those are conversations we can have, and we can talk about what data we need out of VRM, and it's all there. We just need to filter for it.
I'd also add, VRM just added a new report called the PACE report. So if you are a current customer of VRM, the PACE report actually allows you to look at how you did last year against how you're doing now, and the future, any future reservations. So you can determine 6 months ahead of time how well you're doing compared to how you did in that time the previous year. And so you can look at your marketing strategy and say, hey, do I need to put more money and invest more money into my marketing strategy in order to help make sure that I do the same as I did last year or better?
Right. So as Kara said in the very beginning,
that's a report that's available to you. If you're not a VRM customer and you don't have that type of reporting in your current PMS system, it might be time to consider looking at some of those aspects for you in order to be more competitive in your market.
Yeah, and as Kara said right out of the gate, we're in a different year. 2023 is a different year. So getting those marketing strategies in the forefront, these are just some of the things that you can do simplistically by leveraging your PMS. But from a generalized marketing perspective, looking at that PACE report would really be step one. And then looking at your Google Analytics, deciding where your traffic's coming from, and then where you can leverage marketing tools to improve that converting traffic.
Awesome. And for those that are on the call today and you don't want to do any of that yourself and you want to turn it over to somebody else to do for you, that's what Team Blue Tent is here for. They would be happy to have a conversation with you about that. Similar with VRM, if there's something you're looking for in your PMS system that's not quite right, you can give the folks over at VRM a call. and send them a chat, and they'll be happy to connect with you and just talk solutions. And that's what we're all here for. That's what we do each and every day. I realized at the beginning I didn't introduce myself. My name's Tracy Sanderson. I am a just marketing specialist within Habit. And so if there aren't any other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap things up today. But on behalf of Kara, Robin, Andrea, and Megan, we just want to say thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. We'll be sure to get you the replay out as soon as possible. And just good luck in all of your marketing endeavors. And we're here to help in any way we can.